You're tuned in to BS with Joe, the podcast where common sense still makes sense. We break down the news, the culture, and the crazy, one blunt conversation at a time. Buckle up. This is going to be good.
Go.
When Charlie Kirk was gunned down at Utah Valley University just days ago, his killer thought he was silencing the conservative movement. What he instead unleashed was something far larger and far more unstoppable.
This isn't just one man. This is about free speech means in America. About how political violence corrodes us from within, and where we go from here.
So I waited before speaking on this because a story of this weight deserves careful thought and research. Jumping online the same night would have just been riding the click train. This needed careful reflection first. Charlie Kirk was many things. Sharp, quick, deeply committed to debate. He wasn't hateful. He welcomed disagreement. He welcomed the challenge of prove me wrong. That openness is exactly what made him powerful.
And threatening to people who couldn't stand the fair fight idea. I mean, the man would talk into a room full of people who disagreed with him and still smile and still listen and still engage them.
Yeah. So Victor David Hanson said it plainly. Charlie was irreplaceable, a communicator, an organizer, and a cultural force. At just 31, he had built a movement most politicians twice his age would envy.
And let's not miss the irony. His killer used a Mauser rifle, a weapon rooted in 20th century fascism, to murder a man consistently slaughtered as a fascist. And if that doesn't tell you how twisted the rhetoric has become, I don't know what it does.
Yeah. That one, you know what? That one kind of struck me when I found out that was a Mauser. Because that's the weapon that Germany used in World War I and World War II.
Yeah, but it was also his grandfather's weapon. His
right.
grandfather
I
had the
I did
Mauser
read that,
rifle.
yeah. But still, I mean, it's a symbol of fascism.
Right. If we talk about some of the things that all the stuff that has gone on with Charlie Kirk's assassination, you could go down a lot of rabbit holes on like the how Charlie Kirk died.
Well, yeah.
You know, he when I watched a video of a man describing how Charlie had his eyes closed when he was struck. And
he did that a lot when he was thinking.
And I think that put him in a peaceful place. Because when the bullet struck, it severed his spinal cord and other things. It was lights out for him because the amount of blood that he lost at that instant, he was not conscious.
Right. So we've seen the temperature rising for years. Words like Nazi, fascist, racist, thrown around like grenades. They don't persuade. They dehumanize.
Yeah, that's not a debate. It's a cultural permission slip for violence. McCarthy's Red Scare hearing in the 1950s. It did the same thing. Demonize your opponent as a communist. Strip them of their humanity and justify crushing them.
Right. I'll say this clearly. I will never defend anti-Semitism, neo-Nazism, fascism, or communism. But I will defend their right to speak. Even when it's stupid, even when it offends, because once we justify silencing words with violence, the republic is gone.
And yet, we do have to talk about lines, because some people say, well, free speech means no consequences at all. That's not true.
Exactly. Free speech means the government can't jail you for your opinions. It does not mean your employer has to keep you if your words damage trust, safety, or reputation. That's not cancel culture. That's workplace standards.
So when a nurse posts online celebrating a political assassination, the hospital has a duty to protect the patients and trust. That's not mobs. It's responsibility.
But we draw a bright line. No doxing, no pylons, no mob harassment. If there's a real violation, report it properly. Don't become what you condemn. Now, let's talk about the aftermath, because the reaction hasn't just been grief, it's been awakening. Voter registration is surging in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Arizona. In some counties, it's 3 to 4 times the usual pace.
Yeah, and my first opinion was I thought it was going to silence the majority. No, I think it's emboldened the majority. I think we're going to try to have more debates than we've ever seen before. Political scientists call this a preference cascade.
Right.
People who felt alone suddenly realize they're a part of the majority. Charlie Kirk created a permission structure. His death made it impossible to ignore.
Yeah, his "prove me wrong" wasn't just a slogan. It was an open door for conservatives on campuses to speak without shame. And now, in the wake of his murder, that open door has swung even wider.
We have to talk about J.D. Vance from the White House. He guest hosted Charlie Kirk's show and gave one of the most powerful speeches of his career.
He told of escorting Charlie's remains with Erica, and then contrasted that with the grief of people literally celebrating a father's death online. He said plainly, unity only comes after truth.
He also blasted institutions that misrepresented Charlie's word to justify violence. His point was simple: dehumanize breeds violence, and if we excuse it, we guarantee more of the violence.
I agree with him there. Celebrating assassination is depraved. But we've also been crystal clear tonight, free speech still includes offensive speech. We don't criminalize ugly words, we counter them with better words.
And accountability isn't mobs, it's standards. If an employee cheers for a killing, the employer acts. That's not cancel culture, that's consequences.
So Vance closed with a call to constructive action. Get involved, volunteer, build. And that's where the focus has to stay. Action, not vengeance. That's how Charlie's mission outlives him.
Erica Kirk's vow and then her words cut deeper than anything else I've ever heard this week. She said she would carry on Charlie's mission. Not with hate, not with vengeance, but with resolve.
That's strength. That's legacy. The vow wasn't get even, it was continue. And in that, Charlie Kirk lives on through millions who won't let the debate die. So here's where we land. Political violence is a symptom, not a cure. The disease is dehumanization. You don't cure it with another bullet. You cure it with debate, with courage, with better ideas.
We fight bad ideas with better ideas. We fight lies with truth. We fight hate with courage.
Charlie Kirk believed in the open forum. He believed in prove me wrong. The killer thought he was ending that. What he really did was prove Charlie right, that debate matters, that courage matters, and that freedom is always worth defending.
Let's honor Charlie, not by silencing others, but keeping dialogue alive. Charlie's blood has refreshed the tree of liberty, so let's keep the dialogue of this true patriot alive.
God bless Erica, God bless Charlie's family, and God bless America. We'll see you next time.